The Apple Tree Man. There was an old farmer who had 2 sons. The elder was hard-working and thoughtful in his words and deeds. He had a love for the land, of nature, and the old ways, which made his life very rich, although his pockets never jingled with coins. He never minded that. The younger son was very different. He was spoiled and greedy. He expected everything to be done as he wanted it. He had very little honor about him, and the 2 brothers had very little love for each other. The old man died one day in high spring, and it was the custom in that part of the country that the youngest son got all of the inheritance. He got the big house and everything in it, all the land and all of the animals. He had made a great play of giving bits and pieces to all of his wider family, but he also delighted in his new power to make his elder brother feel small and worthless. His brother got the cast-offs and the worn-out things. He got his dad's old moth-eared donkey, an ox that was all of skin and bones and had sores. He got a tumble-down old shack and an outhouse with just a scant bit of grass, and he got 2 or 3 very old ancient apple trees, all that remained of an orchard that his dad has once lived with his grandfather. But the cottage was only rented to the elder brother. The younger one made sure that he always got his rent in full, and that the elder brother took it up to the big house on time each month. It wasn't the best situations to be in, but the elder brother never grumbled. He just rolled up his sleeves and he set to work. He went out along the lanes to cut lush grass for the 2 animals. He cut ash, elm, holly, and ivy. He gathered the healing herbs from the springtime hedge grove, which was clover, goosegrass, finger and thumbs. And he made sure there were plenty for the animals to eat. The ox and the donkey began to fatten up and brighten up nicely. With advice from a local wise woman, he sought out burdock, comfrey, and nettle, and mashed them up into a poultice to make the poor old ox sores go away. The ox healed up nicely. The old ox picked himself up and walked smart and strong from then on. Then he turned the beast into the orchard, and all the goodness and herb magic came out of the other end of the animals, and it treated the land. And the gnarly old apple trees flourished with a marvel. The trees struggled under the weight of mistletoe, so he cut a good lot of mistletoe to sell at the market the following winter. He then carefully pruned the apple trees, which would strengthen them in time to come, but he knew it would take years before they fruit again. None of this helped the elder brother get his rent together and to look after himself, and life became more and more difficult. He did some work up at the neighboring farm, but that didn't bring in much. By the end of the 2nd year, he had used up all of his savings, and he barely was scraping together enough money to pay for his rent and his food. Then one day the younger brother came along, the first time he had ever visited his sibling since their father died. He said, "It'll be Christmas Eve soon, when they say that the beasts can talk at midnight. I've heard them tell down in the village that there's treasure around here somewhere, and I am set to ask the donkey when he can talk where it is. I reckon he's got more brains than the other one. He'll know that he has to tell me the truth. 'cause he knows what's good for him, because I'm the owner of this place." And hearing this, the donkey and the ox stopped munching on their hay, and they eyed the younger brother with suspicion, but he didn't notice. The younger brother then poked his elder in the ribs a little bit more than playfully. "It'll be your lucky Christmas, 'cause if you come up to the big house and wake me just before midnight on Christmas Eve, so that I can come and listen to the animals, I'll take 6 pence off your rent for January. But if you don't wake me, then I might just find myself a new tenant. Do you got that?" And then he walked off, whistling a little tune. Christmas was a soggy affair that year, and by the time the sun had gone as low as it can in the sky, and the celebrations were due, the constant rain had soaked all of the cheer out of the elder brother. On Christmas Eve, he determined to do something about it. That evening, he went out to the shed and gave the donkey and the ox a little bit more extra food. And then he opened the cupboard in his kitchen, and he got out the last bit of the year's cider. He mulled the cider over the little kitchen ashwood fire, using bits of cinnamon and clove, and then he poured it into his mug and took it outside to the orchard. It was still slating rain and perishing cold, and the water ran down like rivers, down his neck and into his back, soaking his ragged shirt. But no matter. He went up to the biggest and the oldest of the ancient apple trees, pulled an old hard crust of bread from his pocket, dunked it into the cider, and put the soaked bread in the crook of one of the tree's branches. Then he began to sing. "O apple tree, I will serve thee, and hoping thou wilt bear. For the lady knows where we shall be, till apples come next year." He tipped the last of the cider at the roots of the tree, and then he continued. "For to bear well and to bloom well, so merry let us be. Let every man take off his hat and shout to the old apple tree. Hats full, caps full, 3 bushel bags full, and a grunt heap under the stairs. Hooray!" This last cheer came from the eldest brother with sounding so small in the cold rain that he didn't have the heart to cheer any more. The rain carried on, and he found himself looking at the apple tree, all its cracked bark and awkward branches and globs of mistletoe, and wondering just how long had it been growing there, and what it must have seen. Then a voice came, a dry, cracked voice. "Oh, that was a drop of good." The elder brother looked around, and he was sure he was there in the orchard by himself. He looked back at the apple tree, and as he watched, the trunk of the apple tree gnawed themselves into a huge, barky grin, with 2 knobs in the wood for beady eyes. Come on now. You take look under this sticky old root of ours. There be treasure right over there, said the apple tree man, and he waved his branches right over to the middle of the orchard. The elder brother wasted no time in finding a spade, and he dug in the very spot. It was long before the spade hit metal, and up came a box full of shiny gold coins. "'Tis yours and nobody else," said the apple tree man. "Put away, safe, put away, and buy quiet about 'em." The elder brother hauled up the metal box into an old sack and took it back to his little shack, where he hid it in the kitchen cupboard. Then he returned to the apple tree, and he gave the apple tree much thanks, appreciation, and gratitude. "'Tis a pleasure," said the apple tree man. Now go, and call your dear brother. 'Tis merely midnight." So the elder brother went to wake up his brother up at the big house. And when that was done, he went back to his kitchen, took the sack of gold and a few belongings, and started up the road to seek a brand new life for himself. Meanwhile, the bleary-eyed younger brother hurried through the pouring rain up to the orchard and into the old cattle shed, just as the clock struck midnight from the church. He stood close to the faces of the donkey and the ox, and he looked at them expectantly, with his teeth clattering in his head from the cold. Sure enough, after some time had gone by, the donkey turned to the ox and said, "You think this greedy old fool that's listening to us so unmannerly, he wants us to tell him where the treasure is?" That's where he'll never get it," said the ox, "'cause somebody has already taken it." And that is the story of the apple tree man.